a small passenger plane crashes in the Mexican rainforest. The flight attendant dies instantly from a broken neck, leaving 9 survivors who face a nightly murder. On the first night, the pilot suffocates when someone covers his mouth and nose. The second night, Travis, an American redneck, dies from poisoning. Who's next on the chopping block? Before sunrise, Carlos starts making a makeshift antenna for the emergency locator transmitter salvaged from the plane. The whole camp's on edge. Everyone knows there's a killer among them, except Amy. She naively comforts Lisa, suggesting her husband's death might have been a heart attack brought on by the heat. After all, these passengers are strangers. Why would they kill each other? But Lisa's convinced it's no accident. In her eyes, everyone's a suspect. Zach's cunning and rarely honest. Kevin, the doctor, keeps making excuses not to treat the pilot. Carlos mysteriously disappears into the woods alone. Sonia's hiding her background and knows too much about poisonous mushrooms. Lisa's most suspicious of Dan, doubting a driver's good intentions in eloping with a rich girl. Amy's upset, refusing to believe her husband's a bad guy.
You don't know anything about Dan.
Do you? How long have you known him?
Their chat ends on a sour note. Amy wanders into the jungle to clear her head. Suddenly, she hears footsteps and glimpses that face that's been watching her. When she comes to the figure in black's gone, maybe it was just her imagination. Carlos finishes the antenna. Now he needs to climb the mountain with the locator to send him SOS. Zach suggests he take a buddy for safety, but with everyone suspecting each other, no one's quick to trust. Finally, Kevin and Sonia volunteer to go with Carlos. On the climb, Carlos pops a piece of gum in his mouth. Sonia picks up the wrapper and realizes it matches the missing gum from their supplies. She figures out Carlos is the food thief, but keeps quiet. They take turns carrying the locator as they climb, but the terrain gets steeper near the top. At a cliff, Sonja almost falls, but Kevin grabs her arm just in time. Instead of getting to safety right away, Sonja reaches for the locator wedged between rocks. It's their only hope for rescue. Thanks to Carlos's strength, they make it to the summit safely. Looking around, they see nothing but endless jungle. There's no way they're getting out on their own. Carlos quickly sets up the antenna, using gum to secure it to the locator. When the signal light starts blinking, they finally breathe easy.
Lucky you had that gum.
Lisa's hunting for dinner with a gun when Zach approaches. She's immediately on guard. Everyone's a potential killer to her now. And Zach doesn't seem like a regular insurance investigator. Zach doesn't directly address her suspicions, just promising he means no harm. Lisa's words keep bugging Amy. To ease her mind, she cautiously brings up Lisa's accusations to Dan. Dan's face darkens, and his tone turns nasty.
What did she say?
She said that, it wouldn't end happily, you and me. She said that you might have killed Octavio and Travis.
Amy's never seen this side of her husband and starts crying. Dan, all worked up, claims he's just a poor driver with nothing but Amy. Realizing he's lost his cool, he quickly apologizes. Amy pretends she has a headache and asks him to get her meds from the plane. Once Dan's gone, Amy sneaks a look in his wallet and finds several business cards. They all have Dan's name but different jobs. Clearly, the driver gig is just one of his many fake identities. As night falls, Carlos and his group haven't returned. Dan's getting antsy, while Zach calmly roasts the coata Lisa hunted. To calm his nerves, Dan heads to the plane for the last bottle of whiskey, ignoring Zach's objections. Amy and Lisa share a look, seemingly plotting something. When Dan comes back, Amy's nowhere to be found. Zach has no clue where she went. Amy's actually hiding in the jungle, looking at those business cards, confused about Dan's lies. She feels someone behind her, but sees nothing when she turns. When Dan comes looking, Amy angrily confronts him with the cards. Dan claims they're from past jobs and begs Amy to trust him, promising to come clean once they're out of there. Carlos's group returns to camp, and they need to prep for the rescue. Kevin finds Dan and Amy arguing and calls them back for a meeting. Sonia suggests moving to open ground for easier helicopter spotting, but the others feel safer staying put.
Safer.
Though the shadow of death still looms, the thought of rescue tomorrow eases their fears a bit. That night, Carlos is working out in the woods as usual, oblivious to the dark figure approaching. Wearing Carlos's wrestling mask, the figure sneaks up. Caught off guard, Carlos becomes the fourth victim. The next morning, everyone freaks out when they realize Carlos is missing. Lisa's convinced he's been killed, and she's starting to lose it.
Oh, I wonder what it's gonna be this time. Another poison mushroom, another post-operative shot.
Christ's sake, can you turn it off?
One by one. They're coming for us, one by one.
Sonia spills the beans about Carlos stealing food from their stash, which raises more questions. Zach suggests they pair up to search for Carlos, but Kevin reminds them there's a bigger issue.
The helicopter. Why isn't it here?
Everyone goes quiet, knowing it's not normal that help hasn't arrived after a whole night. Zach can't figure out why they're all marked for death. Could the plane be hiding some secret that can't be revealed? He and Sonia search the cabin for clues, but come up empty-handed. By noon, there's still no sign of Carlos or the rescue helicopter. Zach thinks the locator might be busted, and Carlos, being the only one who could fix it, might have disappeared because of that. Sonia and Kevin decide to hike up the mountain again to check on the locator. The others plan a power nap before continuing the search for Carlos, but Zach sneaks off while everyone's asleep. Lisa, who's been keeping an eye on him, pretends to be asleep and follows him into the jungle. Meanwhile, Kevin and Sonia stop to catch their breath halfway up the mountain. As they're chit-chatting, Sunja spots a flock of vultures circling over a patch of jungle nearby. Sensing trouble, they rush down to investigate. Sure enough, they find Carlos's body being picked apart by the vultures. The heat's already started to rot the body, and the stench is enough to make your stomach turn. Back at camp, Amy wakes up from her nap to find everyone gone. Hearing rustling in the jungle, she grabs a sharp stick from the fire pit and cautiously approaches. She sees a person in black holding a gun, staring her down. In fear and anger, Amy charges at him.
Oh my god, Dad!
Turns out it was another of her hallucinations, like the time she felt someone watching her. Luckily, Dan's wound isn't deep. While Kevin's patching him up, he notices some numbers tattooed on Dan's back, but keeps quiet about it. Dan doesn't blame Amy, revealing that she has a mental illness. Amy survived a school shooting as a kid, which left her with some serious PTSD. She's been on meds, so her attack on Dan was probably triggered by a hallucination. Kevin figures out that Carlos's wounds were made by Travis's hunting knife. Sonia finds some hidden food nearby, confirming that Carlos was indeed the food thief. He was probably trying to stay in shape for his big wrestling match the next day. Carlos's death proves there's definitely a killer among them. Kevin suspects it might be the unstable Amy, but Sonia doesn't think she could have taken Carlos down.
It's not just a question of who, it's why.
The truth seems so close, yet so far. What they don't know is that they're not getting any rescue. Someone's already trashed the locator on the mountaintop. Late that night, with everyone fast asleep, the camp's dead quiet. A small lizard sneaks through a crack into a hidden compartment in the plane. The moonlight reveals neatly stacked bags of powder. This might be the reason why all the passengers are marked for death.